Hey, I'm Ben Silverio.
And I'm Ansel Burch.
And it's time to party.
We are not doctors. We don't give medical advice. Please drink responsibly. This episode was recorded on January 15th, 2024.
I don't know why we keep going back to that song.
The final countdown?
The final countdown. It's not the final countdown.
It's
it's New Year, New Us.
Is it because of Tom Cruise?
Is it because of Tom Cruise?
I don't know.
Tom Cruise dictates so many parts of our lives. He wishes. Just like that time he really wanted to be a samurai.
Yeah.
Party people, welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for joining us for our third week of Edge of Tomorrow, the awesome 2014 sci-fi time travel flick starring Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt in excellent roles, really.
Truly.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is a great damsel in distress.
Truly is. Yeah.
Yes. Well, if you have no idea what we're talking about, then why didn't you listen to the episodes before this?
Hey,
you probably should have done that.
I appreciate you.
We still appreciate you, but I'm just asking.
Maybe they just found us. Maybe they're new.
Hey, I mean,
person.
Welcome
Welcome to the show.
Whether this is your first party or you're a veteran of the party, we welcome you.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's why when we get things started, if you don't know what we're talking about, we got something for you, because our good friends at Rotten Tomatoes.
Here's a little amuse-bouche from Rotten Tomatoes.
It's a little party favor, if you will.
Yes.
And here is how Rotten Tomatoes describes the movie. When Earth falls under attack from invincible aliens, no military unit in the world is able to beat them. Major William Cage, an officer who has never seen combat, is assigned a suicide mission. Killed within moments, Cage finds himself thrown into a time loop in which he relives the same brutal fight and his death over and over and over again. However, Cage's fighting skills improve with each encore, bringing him and a Conrad, that's Emily Blunt, ever closer to defeating the aliens. What an in-depth description of this movie.
That was, very, very specific. I gotta say, I'm continually impressed by Rotten Tomatoes' specificity in that regard.
It's true. There are a lot of things to dunk on Rotten Tomatoes for, but, they're very thorough in their plot descriptions.
They got that going for them.
Everybody's got something, right?
Yeah, right? It's a weird thing to be good at when what you were shooting for was something else, but
sure.
Hey, you win some. You win some.
You win some. And before we get into our edutainment, I do think it's interesting that this movie came into our lives again when it did. With some of the messages that this movie has to deliver, and the good time. These are all things that we talked about in the last episode. So if you haven't listened, we highly recommend going back and checking that stuff out. But, as I said in the beginning, New Year, New Us, because we, whether we like it or not, have to keep starting over again. Yep. Just like Tom Cruise.
We got something in common with Tom Cruise.
Oh,
take that to the bank.
There you go. What a positive outlook. I love that. But you know what else I love, Ansel?
What's that? Is it edutainment?
It's edutainment. How'd you know?
I just love learning so much.
I do love learning so much. Party people, with our third installment of Time to Party each month, we like to share something that we learned, that we looked into because of the movie or whatever we watched. something that caught our eye, something that we had questions about. We like to do a shallow dive, not a deep dive. We're not like cliff jumping in Hawaii here. We're like stepping into the kiddie pool on the porch. As we like to refer to it, we call it the lazy river of information.
There's no current on this.
No,
on this river.
Just vibes. Speaking of lazy rivers and vibes, I did find this lazy river. I think it's in Kentucky or Tennessee, where it's like the tunnels are like a rave, kind of. It's like a lazy river through Space Mountain, essentially, with all the lights and shit in the tunnels. I feel like that would be super trippy. I don't know if I would like it, but it seems like an experience.
I feel like I'd try it once.
Oh, Erin was super stoked about it. She was like, I have to go to this place. Oh, yes. But before we go booking our next vacation, let's get into my edutainment for Edge of Tomorrow. I'm not going to lie. This was my first choice. I couldn't really find anything else, that piqued my interest. Mostly just because, like, the technology was all fictional. So it wasn't really like, I could see how this like exoskeleton thing may be practically used now, but it's just like the way in which it exists in the movie. It's not the same as the one that we have in real life. We don't actually have like Iron Man armor.
Yeah. And we have talked about exoskeleton suits before.
Yeah, that too. And so like, I mean, just thinking off the top of my head now, it's just like, what was I going to do? Swords, training rooms,
helicopters.
There's a number of things, but for some reason, my mind attached itself to playing cards.
Playing cards. I did not see that coming, and I'm very interested now to hear your history on playing cards. Yes. Tell me everything, and especially their edibility.
Unfortunately, there's not too many studies about the delicacy that is trading cards or playing cards as snacks. But there were those baseball cards that had bubble gum, which those were huge before, and you should never ever ever eat those gum packets now. Because they
still make them, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, I think I've seen them recently.
Oh, because all the ones that I've seen are like old and in wax paper and like kind of like
oh yeah, just broken. Absolute nightmares.
But here is what I have dug up about playing cards. So while the exact time is disputed, it's believed the playing cards were invented in China by the Tang dynasty in the 9th century. Many of these card games involved alcohol, and they were printed with instructions for like forfeits or whatever for whoever drew them. So yeah, big takeaway: Asians started playing cards. And they started them as drinking games, which I'm just imagining the Tang dynasty being like a frat house. William Henry Wilkinson, a British scholar, suggested that the first cards also acted as currency that doubled as both the tools of the game and the stakes that they were playing for, since using real money was inconvenient and also risky. So I think that's funny how trading card games in that way have persisted through centuries. And I'll get into why that's even more funny for me personally in a second. But first,
I bet it rhymes with magic cards.
It's close. So the use of playing cards after that spread to Persia, Arabia, and Egypt, with Egypt being key to spreading the cards to Europe in the 1300s. As the game made its rounds, variations became popular particularly the Spanish, Italian, German, and Swiss versions of the playing cards. But the most popular and most widely used variants, even to today, is the French suited 52 card deck. There are a few differences, but it's basically the same idea. One of the main differences that you can see are in the suits. So as most people will come to mind, you get the hearts, the clubs, the diamonds, and the spades. In German, it's hearts, bells, acorns, and leaves. In Spanish,
which I love. I love those.
I think that's fun. Like, I had never seen those until I was doing this research. I'm like, oh, that's cute. But I kind of like Spanish maybe a little bit more because it's cups, coins, clubs, and swords. I like that.
The Spanish one reminds me a lot more of tarot suits.
Yes, I was just going to bring that up also.
Oh, well, then carry on, sir.
No, I mean, like, that's literally all it was. Like, the Spanish ones were more like tarot cards. But another difference is the size. So historically, the size of playing cards was dependent on whoever was printing them. But in the 19th century, the size became standardized to 3.5 by 2.5 inches. However, today, these are called wide cards or poker size cards. And, making them wider had a couple of advantages. First of all, it was harder to cheat if the cards were bigger. But also,
interesting. Oh, because they can slip them in places and stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
But also, if packs were unavailable of like the smaller ones, the bigger ones can be trimmed down. And most manufacturers, while they do basically stick to this measurement, some vary within a point of an inch. The most being UK's De La Rue manufacturer, who has them at 3.7 by 2.5. And the United States Kern, which has them at 3.5 by 2.25. And these variants usually come depending on what the cards are advertised for. I found that the standard size is typically advertised for poker, while the smaller ones are touted for bridge or rummy.
Interesting.
And so now the way that this comes back to me is because one of the primary manufacturers of playing cards, even to this day, is Ravensburger, a prolific playing card company from Germany, who also stay relevant by producing Lorcana, Disney's new trading card game, which I have now become addicted to.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I know. It's bad. So my cousin, just randomly, he was like, hey, do you want to start playing this card game? And I'm like, bro, I do not have the money to start playing anything. I don't have money for another hobby. And he's just like, no, it's okay. I bought starter decks and we can just play with those. And I'm like, well, I guess that can't really hurt anything, right? So he taught me how to play.
No, the first rule of the street, the first one's free.
I know. It's so bad. So like I'm playing and then my other cousin, his sister, walks in and she's just like, didn't you tell him that you can't play? And I'm just like, yeah, I did. He suckered me in. So after that, I bought boosters. And and I'm just like, oh man, I can totally alter these starter decks. And now I have 2 decks of my own. And we just played yesterday. The 4 of us were playing, and it was, oh my god, I'm all in already, and it's terrible because like I used to play Pokemon cards, so like Magic, it was pretty easy to pick up. They share a lot of things, in terms of rules and gameplay and stuff, but the difference between Pokemon and Lorcana, at least from when I was playing Pokemon, every Lorcana card has a variant that's holographic. The common ones, the uncommon ones, for Pokemon, it was just like, oh yeah, the rare ones or up were the ones that were holographic. Well, no, Ravensburger decided Lorcana was going to be all holographic. So the collector in me is just like, man, these assholes.
I had the good fortune of being at Gen Con this last year when they launched Lorcana.
Mm-hmm.
And so my only exposure to it is everyone at Gen Con either being completely swept up in the madness of trying to get in the ridiculously long line for the Ravensburger booth so they could get the Lorcana cards, and people were trolling eBay during the con to see what cards had been, because you couldn't get them anywhere else. So you knew that if somebody was posting a very rare card, they had gotten it earlier that day from the place where you were. And so it was all the talk of Gen Con. Either you loved it or you were like, God, the Ravensburger line is so long. I had to go around the con to get to the other so I could get to the door.
Yeah. Similarly,
it was
similarly on the coast, every time Disneyland gets a restock of them, sold out immediately. Like, yeah, it's I want to say it's ravenous, but like there have been restocks and like enough people have had opportunity to get them. It's just, here I am after the second wave of release, and I missed out on a bunch of promotional items or like limited run items. And Ansel, tell me why I wanted to spend money on a fancy fucking box for cards. Like, this was MSRP $50, and it essentially came with a big ass box to put your cards in, deck sleeves, separate boxes for your decks, and 8 booster packs. For $50, that's good, right? But like right now, I found one at a shop, and it is $150.
Oh,
yeah, and I'm like I cannot go that far. I just got a regular box to put my cards in, and I got generic card sleeves.
Those are cheap and easy to get a hold of, as it turns out.
Yeah, well below $150, but it's just like, why did I even consider this fancy fucking box with, like, I don't know, Mickey Mouse on it?
Because the Disney marketing machine is real.
They're so good. They knew how to get me. I mean, the card sleeves for the second wave that they released are of Sisu from Raya and the Last Dragon and Mulan in her armor fighting. And I'm just like, fuck.
That's dope.
They look cool.
Yeah. And of course you can only get them this one time. And there's only so many of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
They do. Ravensburger, you fools.
Bastards. Man. Well, it's really interesting that you chose playing cards for this one, because I've actually been researching playing cards myself recently.
No way.
Because I'm writing a game that is based around decks of playing cards. It's an RPG that uses a deck of playing cards as your character sheet.
Wow.
So I'll go ahead and plug my thing. Why not?
Do it.
I produce the show. Let's do some cross promotion. Yeah, if you check out, it's called Mavericks. It's available on my itch.io store in beta right now. Check it out. It's a game where, yeah, you mark up a deck of cards to be your character sheet. And as you play, the deck will grow and change. And you can use any deck of cards. You can use a European deck. You can use an American deck with the standard 4 suits that we all are familiar with. You can use a tarot deck. Hypothetically, you could use like random magic cards if you felt so inclined. I haven't tried it. I haven't tested that yet. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Early playtests so far have gone incredibly well. And I'm hoping to have it ready for people to see by Gen Con 2024. Wow. So yeah.
So are you now going to expedite your Lorcana test play to see if your game works with Lorcana?
There we go. That's what I got to do, is get a deck of Lorcana just so I can draw all over it and piss off the collectors.
Yeah, they need to be pissed off more. That's totally it.
Oh, is this one rare? I didn't know. It just came in the deck.
Oh my god, I swear though, if you do get one of those enchanted cards and you draw all over it, I will be upset because that card is worth thousands of dollars.
Holy what?
Yeah, last time I checked, the enchanted ones, which are the cards where the design goes beyond the borders, like
Oh,
fills out
okay.
the whole card. Yeah, those are super, super rare.
I hadn't heard about those.
But they look really cool.
I mean, yeah, there's like 2% more art on the card. That's got to be worth money.
Another thing that makes Lorcana very convenient is that they have an app. And rather than like tracking the lore, which is how you win the game, you have to get to 20 lore. Rather than like writing it down or like using a counter or whatever, which they do offer, the app has a lore counter. So you can use the app while playing. But in addition to that, it lets you keep track of your collection. And I don't know if you can see that number.
Oh, yeah.
That's how many cards.
490. How many are in a deck?
60.
Is it a 60 card?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like Ansel, I need to stress this. I've played, I played multiple games, but I've only gotten together to play with people twice.
So far.
And I'm already this into it.
Good games do that, man. Good games do that.
It's so dangerous. I mean,
if I could show you my RPG book collection, I cannot judge anybody on their game-related purchases.
Yeah, our good friend Helena Handbasket was talking about games and learning new games recently, and I'm just like, yep, I know that feel. I'm in that boat too. As much as I know that it's very irresponsible of me, considering my position currently, in life. But I mean, look at how pretty this card is.
That is very pretty. Is that really one you've pretty.
Got? No, this is one of the enchanted ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How much is that worth on the market?
That's one thing their app doesn't do. They don't tell you how much they're worth. You have to go to a completely different app for that.
Oh, well then.
Yeah. But my God, I want this Hercules for my deck. Man,
ooh.
I was huge.
That's gorgeous.
I was huge into deck building when I played Pokemon, so I think that's going to transfer over to this. Because I'm ridiculous.
Just got to get a job at a comic store, and you can run their Lorcana table.
Oh, don't even think that I didn't try.
I know, the nerd dream.
Oh man, working at a comic book store was great, but I'm glad that they didn't have Lorcana back then because I was already spending money on Funko Pops and comics. So
right, you didn't earn money so much as get stuff.
Yeah, right. Basically, just like when I worked at Box Lunch.
Yeah, I wondered about that. I was like, this seems like a dangerous place for Ben to be.
Oh, absolutely, it absolutely was. Yeah. So Ansel, what have you got for us this time?
I'm so glad you asked, and we are running a little bit over time, so I'll try and make mine quick. But I wanted to talk about, and I actually did have one other thing I thought about before this. I thought about the little flashlight sticks that they use for guiding airplanes into the right place on runways. But I couldn't find enough information. I'll be honest with you, I never did figure out what they're called. So maybe I'll save that for another one where they show up. So instead, I went with claymore mines.
Okay.
We see early on in the movie, one of the soldiers straps claymores onto his body under his mech armor. And then one of them shows up in the like key moment when Tom Cruise's character reaches over and grabs one of these claymores, puts it in front of his chest to blow up the alpha. And so I thought claymores would be interesting because I honestly didn't know how they worked I always thought claymore mines were a thing like most mines that you like sort of bury in the ground and then walk away and hope for the best or the worst, I suppose. Um, but the iconic curved shape and the way it says front towards enemy, I guess never really this movie brought home to me the significance of that, something I hadn't really had to think about previously. So the claymore mine is a directional anti-personnel mine. So they're curved the way that they are so that all of the like ball bearings and whatnot that are inside shoot out towards the enemy combatants on the other side of the mine. And hypothetically, your soldiers on the back side of the mine don't get hurt. That's pretty reductive because there is an area behind the mine where there's the concussion is strong enough that if you're standing there, it will absolutely hurt you. But it's not throwing like shrapnel in that direction, which is the main thing. So the claymore mine was first created in World War II, which not surprising. And it was designed by a German. Again,
Not surprising.
Not surprising. Yeah, this is if you had to guess where they came from and who made them. Well, good news, your guesses are right. It was originally supposed to be for tanks. It was an anti-tank weapon, but they never got it like functional and cheap enough to get out into the field regularly by the end of the war. So then during the Korean War, they kind of went back to this, or military designers went back to this idea. And from what I'm seeing in my very shallow dive, it was in the early 50s that they finally were able to like create what we would recognize as claymore mine today.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's got that characteristic curve, the like flat, like rectangular shape to it, and notably the like planted in the ground and then walk away from it and detonate it situation, which as it turns out is how they're designed to work. You're supposed to like jam them into the ground facing the enemy. There's like a sight on it, which I never understood, because like, how are you supposed to sight this thing if you're going to like stick it in the ground and then leave? But I guess that's the idea, is you just set up enough of them and then detonate the one that you think is facing where you stuck it, I suppose. But yeah, so claymore, that's the quick and dirty on claymore mines. The design scheme is that you stick them in the ground and you walk away, and there's like a button and a cable, and you detonate it when your enemies get into a specific area. And yeah, they were first created in World War II and actually made it into the field during the Korean conflict. Other than that, there's like a bunch of specifics about designs and when they first added in a layer of aluminum foil to separate the bits from the other bits, and that stuff isn't as exciting, or interesting, I suppose.
Oh, ammunition underwear.
Yeah.
Separating your bits.
Separating your bits. Somebody's gotta.
So, Ansel, in your research, did they explain how claymore mines are functionally better than claymore mimes?
I think the big difference is that claymore mimes are specialized to Scotland, and you can only get them from there. Kind of like champagne, you know,
right.
if they're not made in Scotland, they're just like sparkling weirdos.
I'm so glad you picked up on the champagne thing. Sparkling weirdos. Oh my god, we have fun here.
We do. The thing I didn't find, which I was surprised it wasn't in there anywhere, is how the name came around.
Yeah.
Because like the claymore is an ancient weapon that is, I always associate it with my Scottish heritage.
Sure.
Via William Wallace, but claymores go further back than that, and I don't think they're a Scottish invention by any stretch. But there was no indication in any of the things I researched as to why they chose the claymore as the namesake for these anti-personnel mines. I guess if you think about a claymore as being a big sword where you just sort of like swing in front of you and hit as many guys as you want, maybe that's the idea, as the claymore does the same thing. It's just sort of a broad swath of destruction.
The claymore is your big swing in your artillery.
Yeah, I suppose.
The most I have to contribute to this is the fun fact of Drew McIntyre, who is a Scottish-born WWE superstar and former WWE champion, uses a kick that he calls a claymore kick as his finishing maneuver.
Is it a big swing?
Oh, yeah, because he has huge legs. So it's just big kick straight to the head. He also comes down to the ring with a claymore sword. Like, big sword.
Epic.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I don't have more to contribute to your to your edutainment.
That's fine. Honestly, I was a little bit like, I don't know how interested our listeners are going to be in military technology.
Sure. Especially right now.
Yeah, especially right now. But it was an interesting enough history that I thought it was worthwhile. And while I want to remain sensitive to the life or the situation that we all find ourselves in, I do also think it's interesting to think about why a character like Tom Cruise's
William Cage.
Well, no, I was thinking about his comrade in arms who carries the dang thing.
Right.
Why he would choose something like that. And I think it is because it is such a iconic, destructive thing. You know, like claymores are notable for being so indiscriminate. And I think that tells us a lot about the character who would choose to carry them, not just into battle, but on his person. So it opened up an extra line of interrogation for me to query why we would choose that.
Yeah, that is interesting. So, how you came to your edutainment this year, or this month, this year.
This year, that's right. New year,
new edutainment. Well, party people, we hope that you enjoyed the little nuggets of knowledge that we brought you. You know, like those little kitties who bring, you know, dead birds to their owners. Like, got you a present.
That's right. These are our dead birds for you.
Look what we got you. As we're nudging it with our noses, like, look, this is for you.
Hey.
Don't you like it?
Isn't it mildly disturbing?
I know Claymore mimes are very disturbing.
So upsetting.
Luckily, we don't have to deal with them any longer.
Yeah.
The Claymore mimes.
Claymore mimes.
The Claymore mimes won't hurt you. I almost wish that we had like a Quizzo team and called the Claymore mimes.
It's not too late.
It's not. It's well, all right, party people. You can find us on the internet. I'm at Silverio20 on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, and Threads.
And I am at Indecisionist on all of the Meta properties and Blue Sky. I am also at The Indecisionist on Twitter, if you are still hanging out there.
Yeah, right. If there's any place that Claymore mimes should dwell, it's Twitter. You can join the conversation by using the hashtag time2party. That is time the number 2 party.
Or time the number 2 party, all spelled out, thanks to Warwick. This has been an Indecisionist production. Special thanks to April Moralba for our podcast art, and to Marlon Longid of Marlon and the Shakes for our amazing theme song.
Yes, and now that the month has come to an end, we hope you enjoyed our look at Edge of Tomorrow. Hopefully, it does not inspire you to live, die, and repeat. Hopefully, you just do the first thing.
Just the first one. Yeah.
Because that would be good.
Live well.
Yes.
Live well. You only get one go.
Absolutely. And join us again next month when we talk about a different movie. So until then, friends, be excellent to each other.
And party on, dudes.
Yeah. Tom Cruise. Wheel. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise. I don't know.
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise.
That's actually that's the lyrics to our.
It's plausible that's the lyrics to our.
Just Tom Cruise over and over again.
All right, call Marlon. We need a version with lyrics.
We need
but it's
lyrics
just
now.
Tom Cruise.